Welcome dear students to Standard 9th Algebra Chapter 6 Financial Planning Part 2. Here in this module we will be learning about taxes. Now there are two types of taxes, that is direct taxes and indirect taxes. Now what is direct taxes? Taxes paid by directly from the person is known as direct tax. Taxes which are not paid directly are known as indirect tax. What is income tax? If the income earned in India by an individual, institute, or authorized industry exceeds the limit specified under the Income Tax Act, the income tax is levied on it. In this chapter, we shall consider only those taxes which are to be paid by individuals. In India, income tax is levied by the central government. It is levied under following two acts. Income Tax Act 1961, which came into force on 1st April 1962. The act passed every year by Parliament, which makes financial provisions. Every year, sometimes in February, the finance minister presents the budget for the next financial year. It has proposals for the income tax rates. Once the Parliament passes the budget, the proposed rates become applicable in the following year. Income tax rates are fixed every year in the budget. Now, we will learn what are the terms related with income tax. An assessee. Any person liable to pay income tax according to income tax rules is termed as an assessee. Financial year. The period of 1 year during which the taxable income has been earned is called a financial year. In our country, at present, the financial year is from 1st April to 31st March of next year. Assessment year. The financial year immediately following a particular financial year is called assessment year. The tax payable for previous financial year is calculated during the current year, that is the assessment year. Now let us learn how financial year and assessment year will be clear from the table. Financial year 2016-17, that is from 1st April 2016 to 31st March 2017, the assessment year will be 2017 year 18. Now if 2017-18 is the financial year, that is from 1st April 2017 to 31st March 2018, the assessment year will be the next year, that is 2018-19. Now, what is PAN account number? That is PAN card. On applying for the PAN card, every taxpayer gets a unique 10-digit alphanumeric number from the Income Tax Department. We are required to mention this number in many important documents and financial transactions. The use of the PAN is binding to write our PAN on the challan used for paying our income tax to the IT department or our income tax returns and other official correspondence. The PAN card can also be used as a proof for identity. Now, this is the sample of a PAN card. Computation of income tax. How the income tax are computed of our income. As income tax is tax levied on income, it is necessary to know about the different sources of income. There are five main heads of income: the income from salary, income from house or property, income from business or profession, income from capital gain, income from other sources. According to the sections 80C, 80D, 80G, etc. of the Income Tax Acts, some deductions can be availed from the total annual income. The amount remaining after these deductions are made is called taxable income. The income tax is levied on this taxable income. Every year, the rules for computing income tax are changed during budget. Hence, it is very important to know the latest rules when actual calculating the taxable payable income. No tax is levied up to a certain limit of taxable income. This is called basic exemption limit. Now let us see what are the incomes exempted from income tax. Farmers' income from agricultural produce is exempted from taxation. Under Section 80G of IT Act, donations to Prime Minister Relief Fund, Chief Minister's Relief Fund, and certain other donations to recognized institutions and organizations are exempted from taxation. Under Section 80D, the installments of premium for health insurance are exempted from taxation. Generally, the maximum permissible deduction to various kinds of saving under Section 80C is rupees 1,50,000. Now let us see in this table deductions from annual income according to various rules are shown. They are mutual fund, housing loan, public provident fund, tuition fees for 2 children, health insurance, life insurance policy, that is LIC, National Saving Certificate NSC, investment in post department for 5 years. Now, these are the tax rates according to age of taxpayers are fixed in each year's budget. Samples of table showing tax rates are shown below. Table number 1, it is for individuals up to the age of 60 years. The taxable income slabs in rupees and income tax here, education cess, secondary and higher education cess. Now slab number 1 is up to 2,50,000. The person does not have to give any tax. From 2,50,001 to 5 lakh is slab number 2. On the taxable income minus 2,50,000, the person has to give 5%, and education cess will be 2% of the income tax, 1% of the income tax for secondary and higher secondary education. From 5 lakh 1 to 10 lakh, this tab number 3, the person has to give 12,500 plus 20% of the taxable income minus 5 lakh. Then education cess will be considered 2% of the income tax, and higher secondary education 1% of income tax. Now, if the person is having more than 10 lakhs, it comes under slab number 4, and the person has to give 1,12,500 plus 30% of the taxable income minus 10 lakh. Education cess will be same as 2% of the income tax, and secondary and higher secondary education cess will be 1% of income tax. surcharge equal to 10% of income tax payable by individual having an annual income of 50 lakh to 1 crore rupees, and 15% of income tax by individual have an annual income greater than 1 crore rupees. Slab number, the table number 2 for senior citizens from age 60 to 80 years. Here, the taxable income in slab and rupees, income tax, education cess, secondary and higher education cess. Up to 3 lakhs, it comes under slab 1. That is, no tax has to be paid. From 3 lakh to 5 lakh, slab number 2, that is 5% on taxable income minus 3 lakh. Education cess as previously 2% of income tax, and higher education cess 1% of the income tax. From 5 lakh 1 to 10 lakh, slab number 3, 10,000 plus 20% on taxable income minus 5 lakh, 2% of income tax. For education cess, 1% for income tax for higher education cess. Now, if the person is having more than 10 lakhs, it comes under slab number 4. Income tax is 1,10,000 plus 30% on the taxable income minus 10 lakh, 2% of the income tax for education cess, and 1% of income tax for higher education cess. Table number 3, this is for super senior citizens, that is of age above 80 years. Taxable income in rupees, slab number 1 is up to 5 lakh and no tax has to be paid. From 5 lakh to 10 lakh, slab number 2, 20% on taxable income minus 5 lakh, 2% of income tax for education cess, 1% of income tax for higher education cess. If the person is having more than 10 lakh, it comes under slab number 3. Income tax will be 1 lakh plus 30% on taxable income minus 10 lakh. 2% of income tax for education cess and 1% of income tax for higher education cess. Let us do the question from practice set 6.2. The first question, observe the table given below, check and decide whether the individuals have to pay income tax. First, the table, Miss Nikita having age 27, the taxable income is 2,34,000. Here, Miss Nikita's age is 27 years, which is less than 60 years. It will come in table number 1, but her income is 2,34,000, which is below the basic exemption limit of 2,50,000. Therefore, Miss Nikita will not have to pay income tax. Second question, Mr. Kulkarni, age 36, the taxable income is 3,27,000. Mr. Kulkarni's age 36 years, which is less than 60 years, will come in table number 1. His taxable income is 3,27,000, which is above the basic exemption limit of 2,50,000. Therefore, Mr. Kulkarni will have to pay income tax. Third question, Mr. Mehta. Ms. Mehta is age 44. Taxable income is 5,82,000. So, the age 44 years is less than 60 years from table number 1. Miss Mehta's income is 5,82,000, which is above the exemption limit of 2,50,000. Therefore, Miss Mehta will have to pay income tax. Fourth question, Mr. Bajaj, age 64 and income taxable income is 8,40,000. Mr. Bajaj's age 64 years. So that will come in table number 2 for age 60 to 80 years. Income taxable is 8,40,000, which is above the basic exemption limit of 3 lakh. Therefore, Mr. Bajaj will have to pay income tax. Question number 5. Mr. De Silva, age 81, the taxable income is 4,50,000. Which now De Silva's age is 81 years, which is more than 80 years. So from table number 3, his taxable income is 4,50,000, which is below the basic exemption of rupees 5 lakh. Therefore, Mr. De Silva will not have to pay income tax. Now, we will do question number 2. Mr. Kartar Singh of age 48 years works in a private company. His monthly income after deductions of allowances is rupees 42,000, and every month he contributes rupees 3,000 to GPF. He has also brought rupees 15,000 worth of NSC National Savings Certificate and donated rupees 12,000 to PM's Relief Fund. Compute his income tax. Now, Mr. Kartar Singh's monthly income is 42,000. Therefore, his yearly income will be 42,000 multiplied by 12, that is 5 lakh 4,000. Mr. Kartar Singh's investments are GPF and NSC. So GPF is rupees 3,000 monthly. So 3,000 multiplied by 12 plus NSC is 15,000. So 3,000 multiplied by 12 will be 36,000 plus 15,000, that is rupees 51,000. Donations to PM's Relief Fund is rupees 12,000. Therefore, the taxable income is yearly income minus investment plus donation. Now, yearly income is 5,04,000 minus investment 51,000 and donation 12,000, which will be coming to 5,04,000 minus 63,000, and that is equal to 4,41,000. Here, Kartar Singh's taxable income is coming under slab number 2, that is from 2,50,001 to 5 lakh. Therefore, the income tax will be 5% of taxable income minus 2,50,000, which will be equal to 5% of 4,41,000 minus 2,50,000. Now, 4,41,000 minus 2,50,000 is 1,91,000. So, income tax will be 5% of 1,91,000, which is equal to 9,550. Let it as take as equation number 1. Now, we have to calculate education cess, which is 2% of income tax, that is 2% of 9,550, which is equal to rupees 191. Let us take it as equation number 2. Now, secondary and higher education cess, which is 1% of income tax, that will be equal to 1 by 100 multiplied by 9,550. So, which will be equal to 95.50. Let us take it as equation number 3. So, total income tax will be equal to income tax plus education cess plus secondary and higher education cess from equation 1, 2 and 3. So, total income tax will be equal to 9,550 plus 191 plus 95.50, and that is equal to rupees 9,836.50. Therefore, Mr. Kartar Singh's income tax is rupees 9,836 0.50. Now, in this module, we have learned about income tax of individuals and done the problems from practice set 6.2. Thank you, students.